Hello everybody, this is Heidi from the Edible Art Towers Garden in Zone 7A. I am here on March 31st. There's been a lot of stuff in the news about food supplies being diminished, and I am ever so grateful that I started this last, what was it, October? And the results are here. I want to show them to you. So that's already, what, 6 months? I'm not sure, do the math. But yeah, I'm on the side of a mountain in this little slide in and out greenhouse. Is mobile, and in the wintertime I can bring it all in because it's on wheels, and I can close the garage door. And it's about 46 degrees in here on the coldest winter night, and that's Zone 7A, when it's 16 degrees out. So I came down because I was picking the lacinato kale, and I just picked this side, but what I learned, and I have an observation, is if you train these and you just spin and lift, you have a much cleaner stem than if you try to come down here with scissors. And there's so many different ways to prune, but if you turn your barrels, you won't get leggy things like this. You'll get them more straight up and down. So I can turn this barrel around, and I do about a quarter turn every time I do it. That was not a quarter turn, but I have a marker right here, and the marker faces that way for one day, and then I will turn the barrel a quarter turn in the wintertime. I don't know about summer, I might turn it even more, but then I move the marker back to the sun side. So that's how I know. And that's how I get these really straight things. So the beauty of these barrels is the more you pick them, the more you eat. And they just keep on growing these leaves. And I sort of like them small. You don't have to devein them. But it's an awesome thing. There's not too much weeding in this game. And if I had to review these barrels now, looking back on 6 months of growing, I would not put the same sort of vegetable or green on each side. You can see how well the kale is doing, right? And it grows straight up, and if you train it to come out this way, you get more green and so forth. But if I had done all kale on that side, then I think it would have been better, because the spinach grows in a different way and it needs to be trimmed more. Ooh, I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look into that. But this lettuce that I planted in the center doesn't seem to be getting enough light because the kale is blocking it. So what I have to do is pick off the leaves that are coming towards the kale and sort of clean out the center. Hard to do with one hand. Huh. So these Siberian tomatoes I have in 5-gallon grow pots, the fabric pots, and some of them were put in here before others. This one I think was coming from upstairs under some grow lights, different temperatures and so forth in February, and this one I think was down here most of the time. It's a little bit shorter. So I think the ones under the grow lights did better, but I did repot all of these into 5-gallon. I had a couple of experiments going with 2-gallon and 3-gallon pots, but I think I'm going to go with 5-gallon. 7-gallon would be ideal, but I'm just a little petite woman going into my 60s, and the 5-gallon I can lift, and it's a nice workout. It's very gentle. So over here I have arugula, some lettuce. Again, I would not interplant things. If you're going to grow arugula, grow it on 1/4 of the barrel and then maybe switch, because also when you go to harvest, the arugula, if you want arugula, is all in one space. You don't have to chase it around the wheel here. So that's what I learned in my last 6 months. The beets on top were a really good idea, I think. They look phenomenal. I got a radish in here. I did pull a lot of radishes. They seem to attract aphids, so I don't like radishes. What I really learned about radishes is that they do not have the same soil requirements as the greens. They don't like too much nitrogen, and they don't like the fertilizer, the fish emulsion that I was giving them early on. And so, yeah, they have different soil requirements, so just be aware of that. I was trying to companion plant, but it kind of backfired. I even have beets growing in some of these little containers. Can you see that beet in there? It's looking good. I think I'm going to be able to harvest that. I'll be able to see the size of it, and I can pull it. And the greens I've been harvesting right along. They're fantastic. I've got Russian kale over here. 1 plant per hole, people. But you can see how this is a Japanese giant red mustard, and I keep picking off 1 leaf at a time. There's another one up here. So I experimented. This was all new to me. I've never done this before. The lettuce is looking good, but it's competing for space. So some of the barrels I made more holes in. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. But depending on what you plant, like that was already picked. I already picked that. But depending on what you plant, you can grow whatever you want. But I still recommend, if you're going to do different varieties, do all the kale in 1/4 section, turn the barrel, do another 1/4 section with something else, lettuce maybe, turn the barrel, do another 1/4 section with the beets, and so forth. And it's amazing the harvest that you can get. So this is my collection so far. That's what I use for my dinner tonight, and I'm still picking, but I just had those thoughts about the barrels and the update. And soil temperature here on March 31st is 58.9 degrees at 5 o'clock in the evening. Nice. So I am very happy with the results of this, and I am so blessed that I started this last fall. I didn't know what was to come. I planted potatoes in 1-gallon pots. I plan to make my first potato garden ever out in the yard, but that's going to be the start of them. And I didn't know what was coming, but what I did know was that already where I lived there was somewhat of a food shortage, and the food desert meant that you could buy some fresh vegetables, bring them home, but what happened was you would open them up a day later and the cucumbers would be so slimy and pathetic that you had to throw them into the compost. And the same would happen to the lettuce or whatever bagged green you had. So because I couldn't seem to get fresh veggies, I just decided that I was going to grow my own. And I got these barrels off of Craigslist, and they were $5 a piece at the time. I don't even know if that guy's still around, but you can grow in anything. I have grow bags, I have towers, I have towers, of many different kinds. And if you look over here, there's Swiss chard, lettuce, more Swiss chard, basil, Swiss chard, and arugula. Some lettuce and Swiss chard. You can tell I love Swiss chard. And some Russian kale, along with some blueberries that need to be repotted. So what I'm saying to you is that after all of this time, what I would do is plant strictly one tower of Swiss chard, one tower of kale, one tower of, if they're these smaller ones, of one and the same, in other words, or at least something that is complementary that you would want to pick for dinner in one big fell swoop. So it's a beautiful day, even though it's cloudy, it's not raining, and yeah, it's good. Please, please, people, take care of yourself. This has got to be the best medicine ever, to grow your own food. I am just so blessed, and I am hoping and praying for people, sending light, love, energy, and healing thoughts, especially to my family and friends and the people that I know. It's really heart-wrenching stuff that I hear every single day. People are struggling, and I just want to be a strength for anybody that I can. We don't know how much longer we have on this planet. And I just say God bless you all. Have a great rest of the day, and thank you for watching. Edible Art Towers and Container Gardening are my go-to on Facebook, and I'll try to keep posting. Times are getting tough, but I'm going to keep trying. Alright, hang in there, people. Love you all.